FHS season tickets.
Welcome into another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick.
I think we should rename you. And I'm Nick. I came in last place in the Dayton bracket and lost to somebody who had Bucknell and Creighton in the Final Four.
Hey, but I beat Noah Massaros. Maybe that.
You did do that. That is a true fact. And
so that means technically Noah got last in that bracket.
Even Noah wasn't in that group. And you lost.
Hey, we'll put him in there.
Just give him the password and hack into his phone and be like, hey, this random kid named Noah, he's not even in our Snap group chat. I don't know how he got in.
Exactly.
He got last. But we're talking about March Madness, and Villanova won it all. Like I predicted. I hate to brag, but I got it right. Did pretty well in my bracket this year. But Villanova just looked like a dominant team, set record performances in the Final Four, making the most threes in any game in Final Four history, and they actually tied the record in the first half, which is just absurd. And Villanova's just depth and experience really played a huge factor all tournament.
Speaking of depth, how much do they have coming back?
It's going to be interesting with all the dudes who are going to be testing out NBA.
Dude, if Spellman goes to the NBA,
Michael Bridges is gone.
Yeah.
Brunson is probably gone.
Is Bridges a senior?
Bridges is a redshirt junior, so he could come back if he wanted to, but he's gone. Jalen Brunson is probably gone. I'd give it about an 85% chance that he's gone. And then DiVincenzo and Spellman.
They shouldn't. I would say.
See, it's with
maybe DiVincenzo.
His stock's never going to be higher. Like after that game.
Well, I mean, he can bet on himself.
Yeah, but that's what Grayson Allen
next year with Jalen Brunson. But Grayson Allen never had that type of game.
No, but like Grayson Allen had a big Final Four, and then he came back for his sophomore year, and he was an All-American. And then, for whatever reason, he was a projected like late teens, early 20s draft pick, and then he came back junior and senior year, and now he's probably going to be drafted somewhere in the second round. So that's like kind of a prime example. DiVincenzo had the Final Four game the same year as he was actually kind of good, where Grayson Allen, as a freshman, had a huge Final Four game. As a sophomore, actually became an All-American.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he would. Yeah, I would. I mean,
it's gonna be interesting because he'll be in a bigger role. But with Booth coming back and with five-star Javon Quinterly, does DiVincenzo have a starting spot next season? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see because you've started Booth over DiVincenzo before, so he will most likely come back. I see no way Booth leaves. So you put Booth back in the starting lineup, and then Quinterly is a five-star recruit, like third or fourth best point guard in the nation. I'm assuming he starts. I would probably slide Booth to the 3 and still start DiVincenzo, but it's just an interesting way to look at it for the future of Dante DiVincenzo. Spellman, I think either decision he make will be fine. He'll either be a force down low for Villanova, but one thing to watch out for, he actually is like the age of a junior, so despite this being his redshirt freshman season, because he went to high school for 5 years and then was redshirted, so he's actually like the age of a junior, so he's already an older NBA draft prospect, so coming back, that would add just another year to when he gets drafted. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I wouldn't say that one decision is markedly better than the other. I think that both have their positives and negatives. So I think it will be interesting what the Villanova players do. Whether
I can't even see Spellman going in the first round though. So like, I think it would be no point not to come back.
Personally, I think he's a borderline first round pick, but I don't think the NBA thinks that. I think they have him a little bit lower in the second round. So it just depends on what teams give him as his grade when he goes to the combine, because I would imagine both of them go to the combine without hiring an agent, so they can get evaluated and then they get whatever they want from the NBA, and if it's what they want, then they'll sign an agent and continue with the draft, and if it's not, they'll just go back to Villanova. So I actually think that that's kind of helped, besides the fact that John Calipari has everyone test the waters, including like Brad Calipari, even though he averaged like 0.5 points a game. Hey, NBA scouts, come look at my son Brad. You're going to want to get him. So I think that's kind of ridiculous, but I do think that it is valuable for guys like DiVincenzo and Spellman to let NBA scouts look at them and just see what the scouts think that they need to improve on for the NBA.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it's going to be interesting to watch with that, but in regards to the game, I mean, Villanova just completely dominated throughout really the tournament. It's cool to see Villanova becoming a blue blood in the ranks of college basketball over this like kind of dynastic run. And I mean, it's always been a college basketball college. Like I remember visiting there.
Well, they don't have a football team. Well, an FBS football team.
College, yeah. So it's heavy college basketball. I remember I visited back when my sister, who's 2 years older than me, was visiting colleges. So that might have been like 4 years ago, 3 years ago max. And they were all. That was back when Villanova would always choke.
Chokers, yep.
They would always choke in the tournament. So you had like the people there that we were talking to, like they would always be like say how much that basketball's such a big thing there, but like they always get their heart broken. So it's cool to see now those people are probably like so hyped. I haven't talked to them obviously, but they're probably so hyped now down there, and like it's really turned into like a huge program, something that obviously they're attracting some 5 stars now, which they've always been good at growing. But I think that they'll continue on with their success. It's going to be interesting to see with everyone leaving. I've been thinking about this throughout the tournament, and I think that the one and done system, I think the one and done teams like the Duke, Kentucky, I think unless you have a year of just immense talent, I don't think you could ever really win a title.
Duke next year?
What?
Huh?
Oh, Duke next year? I don't think, dude, Cam Reddish, the truth, I don't think you could ever like.
The truth?
He's a guy.
Oh boy.
You don't think Cam Reddish is good?
I think I've been lower on like a top 2 prospect like ever in my life.
Dude, you don't like Cam Reddish?
No.
Why?
I just don't like.
What?
I'm not in on Cam Reddish.
We'll see. But anyways, I think that the best way is to have like, not like UNC. You got to get like those, like the top 25, like 20 through 30 5-star recruits that are
so like
high
Spellman.
4-star, 5-star. Yeah, like exactly like Spellman, who have no shot of going to the draft next year, the freshman year, but will come back their sophomore, junior year, kind of like Willie Cauley-Stein. And you could just feast off those boys because they're still talented, but you can't have like what UNC or Virginia had this year.
UNC actually hasn't had a one and done freshman in like.
Well, yeah, UNC last year was good, like the same type of model with like Kennedy Meeks.
Yeah, they just lost everybody and
exactly.
They
lost because they rolled.
Was their top
exactly.
So, like that's kind of
so, but what's it called? Villanova is a good example with like Spellman, and they just had like really good depth.
Kansas
like,
typically
Brunson.
has that. Like despite the fact that they've had Josh Jackson and guys like Embiid, they've also had guys like Frank Mason and Devontae Graham who have been.
So I think the top 20 through 30 players is what teams should actually really be targeting if they want to win titles. Because I mean, it's good as gone, these guys, and like I just don't think you have enough time to like have a big tournament run if you don't have experience, like talented experience. So you can't just have some scrub experience, you know?
Yeah, like if you have scrub seniors, like you're still gonna lose because they're just not that good at basketball.
Exactly.
Even though they've been playing college basketball for 4 years,
Exactly.
and like turn good overnight. That's why like people always talk about college football. I know these guys are big on returning starters, and then this one scout was just like, this team, 18 returning starters, great. 13 of them suck. So who cares if they're returning starters? Like that's, I feel like that's like the point you're making, that like you need to get talented guys, but you need talented guys that come
won't
back.
leave every
year. You need to find like a happy medium
exactly.
of talented guys and also guys who you can trust are going to be there for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years.
For sure, because like I feel like based on what you were ranked in high school is after 1 year, like that still stays with you. So if you're ranked like 30th in high school, like you're going to be not even on the draft boards entering into the season, and that's what still people look on after 1 year of college. So like that's why Porter's getting so much love.
Trey Young really shot draft boards. He was one of the few guys who actually like shook his high school ranking, because his high school ranking was somewhere in the 20s or 30s depending on where you look, and now you look at draft boards and he's in the top 10.
Yeah, so like usually your high school ranking, if you do bad in your first year, still sticks with you a little bit with like Porter and stuff, but I think that you got to aim for those guys, and I think that's what Villanova did. I think that's what UNC did last year, so I think that we're seeing a trend in college basketball that people should really start to target.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also think college basketball teams should get better at shooting threes, because if you
Can we talk about how heavily overrated Wagner was? This man was going against some light boys in Loyola.
9 points in the first 4 minutes against Villanova, and then had like not even 5 there.
He was so overrated, bro. He went up against some light competition for rebound against Loyola. All they had was like
24 and 15 against one 6'10"
Yeah.
fat dude and another
Yeah.
6'6" dude. Okay?
like the big guy was good, but he was getting tired. You could tell. And like
He's a
there's
freshman,
no other
that
one
big
else.
guy.
Yeah, I know.
Loyola's gonna
He
be
was
like
good.
solid next year. Like
They will. I think they're returning everybody.
They were kind of, I think they got like one of their starters.
Dude, I thought they were going to beat Michigan. They were up 10 with 4 minutes left. I was getting
No, they
lit.
were up 10 with 4 minutes left. It was a tie game.
They were up 10 with like
4
7.
minutes to go. They were up 7 at halftime.
They got up to 10.
They got up to 10 with like 15 minutes to go.
No.
Michigan slowly crept back.
I swear it was like...
I will show you the ESPN like StatCast throughout the game.
Oh, yeah, do that.
And but yeah, I remember because I was watching the game at halftime and I was like, everyone's saying that Loyola's gonna win, and I was kind of like,
Dude,
I just don't see this happening for another 20 minutes. But
I don't know. Michigan didn't seem that much more talented than Loyola. Actually, was.
Michigan is not that talented. They have a great coach, John Beeline, top 5 and 5-10 in the nation, depending on where you have guys and how much you value recruiting. But like their team is not like overly talented. You look at their roster; they have maybe one.
Yeah, Loyola was missing most of the shots, and they were still up 10 in the second half. So like, I honestly
Like, are
think
you
that Loyola
scared
could
of
have beat.
Xavier Simpson as one of the ugliest jumpers ever? Like he's a good athlete.
Yeah,
and great.
Matthews carried them, and he's a Kentucky transfer, bro.
Who averaged 3.5 points a game at Kentucky last year.
He got no opportunities though.
I mean,
I remember when he
still.
was recruited.
And then like Abdul Rahman, like great, like that dude is not good. Just announcers love saying
Wagner's
his name.
trash.
So like if you watch like
Dude,
3 Michigan games every year, you're just like, whoa, Abdul Rahman. Whenever he does something, the announcers get so hyped.
Last thing about college basketball though, it was so funny. So we were watching the Loyola Michigan game,
And you saw Perry Ellis in the game.
No. So we were watching the Loyola Michigan game, and me and my dad were watching. We were rooting for Loyola, obviously, because we just hate Michigan and wanted to see Loyola
We root
win.
for Loyola,
And-
it's like anybody,
Exactly. Oh, pretty much.
except
So-
for like a few schools.
Yeah. So, anyways, we were watching, and we didn't notice that it was on TNT. But
When you were watching the Homer
we
stream.
didn't notice that it was a Teamcast. It said Teamcast at the bottom right. And for a minute, that was like fine. I just thought that they were like some really excited announcers. And then like when like the first half, end of first half, second half, I was just like, these guys started to say like, they first started to creep into saying like one of them said us. They said us for Michigan, and I was just like, this guy is literally so slanted towards Michigan.
Biased,
And
man.
no, I started hearing that because he was like one time they had him a shot. He's like, oh, they gotta just keep on attacking the rim, and I was like, what? And then they said a lot of comments like that, like, oh, almost had the rebound. And I was like, dude, he's obviously rooting for Michigan. What the heck? And then he said us, and I was just like, this guy just said us. No. So the entire time I thought I was watching the regular one. So and then the other guy started saying us and we too. I was like, this is like the
Whole
national
broadcast.
broadcast. Are they allowed to do this? They're straight up cheering. And by the end of the game, I was getting so bad. And then at the end, I look at the right bottom corner. I never saw it before. My dad was like, wait, it says Teamcast. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, we literally just watched the Michigan Teamcast and we were rooting against them. It was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
That's a
But
pretty funny story. My buddy, Old Takes Exposed, he actually had a collection of tweets of angry fans on both sides who were accidentally watching the Teamcast when they were like, these announcers so biased on TNT or True TV. He's like, these guys have no idea that they're accidentally watching the Teamcast and the team they don't want to win.
stupid. No, but I think
Oh, I'd love to see a tweet on you and just and be like, expose this man.
I think that could wrap it up for our college basketball talk. I know that we have a certain NBA team that we're fans of that is doing well. Mike, can we talk about it?
Yes, LeBron James, still good at basketball in year what, 15?
Yeah, and the Raptors still will never beat us.
The Raptors,
Max Kellerman.
getting worse at basketball.
Yeah.
Their net rating was like kind of even with like the Rockets and Warriors for a long time, and since sometime in like February, they've been like kind of hovering around 500, which every other playoff team is going on absurd winning streaks. Like if you look at the Western Conference, which like besides the Warriors because they've all been hurt, you look at every team that's playing for the playoffs except for like the Pelicans, they're all going on absurd winning streaks. The Jazz have won like 85% of their games out of their last like 30. The Nuggets have gone on like a 4-game winning streak. You look at San Antonio's kind of picking it up. Where's some other teams down? Like Portland went on an absurd streak. They won like 9 out of 10 like a week ago. And then the Thunder started picking it up as well. Then you look at the East. Cavs have won 9 of 10. Philadelphia has won 12 of their last 13. I think 10 in a row. So Philly's picking it up too. Even won their last 1 or 2 without.
They're in the playoffs now too.
I think they're the 4 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they might get home court in the playoffs. It's gonna be really
trust the process. Embiid though getting injured.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be interesting how Embiid plays.
If they could just all stay healthy, they could be a straight up dynasty.
Fultz looking a little better. He still looks terrible, but
really,
he at least had a nice poster dunk, and he's attacking the rim like you would expect. He's basically Markelle Fultz.
How does he have
in
no
college?
shots?
If Markelle Fultz had no idea how to shoot a basket.
Why does he have no? He literally took like 10 steps back as a player.
I'm not sure. If it's a problem in October of next year, I'll start being worried. But I think this year we're basically just like, all right, screw it. Markelle can't shoot right now, so we'll figure this out in the offseason. If he can play 10 minutes a game when Ben Simmons is resting in the playoffs, that'll be good enough for whatever the Sixers want to do. Which I think that's going to be his role in the playoffs. Like,
if Ben Simmons doesn't win Rookie of the Year,
Donovan Mitchell, very good basketball player, going to be a very good NBA player, not the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is out of this world for sure.
He's been averaging almost a triple-double the last, 17
Westbrook only needs 41 rebounds. He just needs 13.7 rebounds a game in the next 3 games.
It's going to be tough. Got to start stat padding. He had 16
will
last
start
night,
padding.
so, he's right on pace. 44 and 16 against the Warriors and an L. So that was an impressive stat line.
Loss.
Huh?
And a loss. That's crazy.
Yeah. Durant had 34, I do believe.
No, but I think all those stats, I think the best stat, I think the most important stat of this NBA season so far, and what will probably determine the championship most
Joe
likely.
Harris had 30 points against the Cavs. Cavs cannot win if they're giving up 30 points to a white guy.
No, I think...
That's not what you were thinking?
No, different white guy, actually. Jose Calderon is the starting point guard, is now 23-9 for the Cavs. So I think that really shows
better than
that
Rose?
He's one of the best point guards in the East, and he's going to probably carry us to a championship.
The Wizards won 6 of their first 7 without John Wall. Let's ignore the fact that they've really sucked recently without him. I think Calderon might be better than John Wall.
23-9 is more than 6 out of 7.
No, without John Wall. So they were winning without him, and then we get called. I think Washington, pick up the phone right now, even though you can't trade anymore.
Straight up Jose versus Wall in the offseason for sure. Because Jose only gets better with age. He's like a fine wine.
I really like that comparison. And with that will wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more season ticket videos where we will be discussing the NBA playoffs, the NFL draft, and the NBA draft.